So the Maple Leaf Terrace, well, open space. Open space. We can do open space. We've got what we call the Grand Terrace. And this area is just about, I'd say, 400 by 500. It's vast. There's plenty of open space. The way the budget is turning out, that is looking like that is probably going to be grass, given the expense of putting synthetic down over the equivalent of 2 soccer fields is probably not in the cards. To enhance this whole idea and bring in this idea of the waves, this is our area of these wave berms, and you remember seeing those images of rolling lawn and plants and things. And the idea here is that we mix it up a little bit, that we might have one of these is done with plants, maybe one of these is done with shrubs, maybe some of them are lawn, and you actually get to walk over them. But the idea is to provide that interest and just that reminiscent of wind blowing across the open water and the reservoir that was once there. One idea we have about how to achieve some of that rolling effect, and SPU actually embraced this, was to use foam. And we could actually use foam to build up our grade, say 18 inches, 24 inches, and then we just put that soil over the top and we grow the plants on top of that. So then we get this real interesting contour and this real interesting landscape and this neat effect as you go across. And then all the space in between, all these little green pathways, they're just that. They're green pathways that you can actually circulate through, and they could actually be, as budget allows, we might enhance some of these and do other things with them, creating unique surfaces to walk on, activities. We kind of toyed with the idea of something like we call it a challenge course, where you might have rocks that you need to step from rock to rock, or ways to balance, or things that challenge that way. But just a different way, a different experience, and to move through that area. I'm going to go forward because this is a little bit of a sketch that shows you what that would feel like. So this would be that interior loop path and then that spiraling out one, but you can see how they're low, and you can still see all the way to the edge of the park, but you'd have this interesting rolling landscape across the edge of it just to give us that relief of this fairly large open space that we have in the center of the park.
Excuse me. Question, where are those trees on your elevation located on the schematic?
Those trees are somewhat this area, but I will also tell you that this is, if you will, an artist's rendering. So that means that to finish the sketch, you put the trees in the background. We didn't illustrate them, so no one would look at them and say, you have 40-foot Doug firs on the edge of the park. As long as you brought it up, these trees, the idea of this grove that extends around the north side and then breaks down and becomes a little more singular in here, the idea of these trees is actually a smaller scale. We want to put something in that accents the edge, but we don't want to have, this is not the place to be using our grand maples and our oaks and things. These trees are going to probably be 20-foot wide, 20-foot canopies, maybe 20-foot high, or maybe they're narrow and tall. But the idea is they're more dim, I'm not going to use, they're smaller in scale. I can't say that other word. But the idea of just using something that's a little bit reduced, other than your grand shade trees that we might be using on the Roosevelt edge, just to give it that interest. And then as we wrap around and breaking down the radial pattern of the ones that move through this area, we're doing a little bit of screening also of this amenity. So that would probably be somewhere back over in that edge of the sketch in there. So it's clear that when we come into the park on these axes, both the stair here and the walkway here, they do line up if we wanted to run a straight line, but if we ran a straight line, we're going to run into that access. So we've put in interesting ways to create sitting areas and gathering spaces. A lot of things in there that let us adjust things as reality strikes. We've already found out additional constraints down here. I'll talk a little bit about when we get down to the sports terrace. But we want to have in the design ways that we can accommodate additional information we might learn as we move forward, things that we can and can't do. And so we create this way to offset this path so we avoid this, and these little areas become sitting spaces or just places to meet a neighbor and chat before you move on with your walk. So we're creating a vocabulary of, it's really what we call a kit of parts. So we can apply these things where we're out. So we get this cohesive appearance throughout the park, but we have this kit that we can use to adjust to these unknown conditions or these odd conditions that we'll find. So next is this. Can we hold? Is it all right? Well,
is that perimeter road like it's my Vista scale? Is that the same one that's out there now?
no. The perimeter road around the existing reservoir would be more like that gray line that was on the SPU existing conditions drawing I showed a few slides ago. It's very tight in. We've loosened it up just to get more length out of it and to soften the curves and the ability for people to move along. So what we're calling the Vista Terrace, the Vista area, is this corner of the park right in here. And what we've learned is that this corner of the park is pretty significant to this community and the way the views work and the gathering that takes place. It's just been constrained to a little ridge line way down off the drawing for right now. Well, we did have the opportunity about a month ago to get inside the fences and walk the construction site and be able to walk along this edge and see what the views actually were, what they are. And you can see through these trees in so many places, and it's just something to celebrate. So we thought it deserved a grand space. So the idea being that you have a focal point or a gathering space here, which might almost become more powerful than the one that we have on Roosevelt, because at least right here you're looking at a really strong view and an important vista. And just to make it even more usable then, we've created this terrace area out here. So there's the circle way back up on the lid, and then moving out to the corner, now you're on the slope. This is the rain garden sneaking along the side, so the rain garden's right there. And the idea is to terrace these also, so that if I walk up and I'm standing at the top, there's somebody that could be on a lower terrace in front of me, but we can all still enjoy the view. Almost like grandstand seating, without the grand, I guess. Just nice seating and a way to sit on, have some elements to sit on and ways to circulate. And then just one little point to just let you get out a little bit further, and that's this circular area. And the idea there that might even be like a cantilevered element that lets you get out there and really experience that sensation of those views and be able to take advantage of that. I think lastly there's one other element, just soft meandering paths that let you move through some of these spaces. Again, as the waves move off the lid, the constraints become less. And so we have the ability to really do some interesting things with these waves up in here with our choice of materials, plant materials, things that we might use. So we can explore that a little bit further and enhance those a little bit more than the lower materials like grasses and ground covers and things that we might use in this area. And the idea of just paths, soft paths that walk through here. This edge that you see all the way along up here, one of the striking things about the park is that edge along Roosevelt with that existing ground cover and the big trees. It's just so simple. And the idea is to take that same sort of character and replicate it up here, just to provide a little bit of a buffer for the residents that live along this edge, just a reminder that this is the edge of the park and we should respect it.